Working on projects related to global issues sometimes take long time to complete, and sometimes they cannot even be completed. The issue may be too complex to be resolved in a short time, or situation is changing and it's getting harder to reach location or other resources necessary for the project development. From the beginning of my master studies, I've been working with non-profit organizations in Iraq, where I've been photographing their actions and activities. Images are used mainly as a promoting material to reach new donors or partners. Iraq has its political issues and is not a very stable country. On 25th of September 2017, Iraqi Kurdistan voted for independence, what outraged Iraqi government. As a consequence, the Iraq closed all main Kurdistan borders and took control of disputed territory, which created a violence in the area. It was easy to get a touristic permit to visit Kurdistan before, but now official Iraqi visas are required. We analyzed with STEPIN, the non-profit organization I work with, what are the options of getting to Iraq. There was one border opened between Turkey and Kurdistan, however, it would be too risky that I would not be able to return from the country, as this border could be closed at any time. The only smart option left was to ask for Iraqi visa, and that takes some time to get. Unfortunately, this situation interrupted my project for the time being. At the beginning, I wanted to continue with this project, using images that I haven't processed from previous photoshoots in Iraq. I was considering processing them and share it as a new work. But even though I would show new images which were not shared before, they weren't photographed with new knowledge that I gained during this last module. I was trying to find out how to demonstrate my knowledge from this module, and I realized that political situation cannot stop me from taking new images. I have decided to find a new, short-term project where I can continue with documentary work, and that way demonstrate my adaptability to different situations or issues that I face as a photographer. I've got in touch with students from Aalborg University in Copenhagen. They are doing their master degree in tourism development and are currently researching the tourism development at Faroe Islands. We went to Faroe Islands and we did several interviews with people who work for destination management organizations or hotels. We were researching three main topics where we discussed improvements in profitability from tourism, regulation of tourism and improvement of product quality, and sustainable tourism and minimizing tourism impacts. Faroe Islands became a famous destination for explorers over past years, and number of tourists just keeps growing. With the increase of tourism, new issues arise. My documentary work demonstrates these issues, but also underlines strong elements in the Faroe Islands. The country shares common issues with other fast-rising tourist destinations, such as Iceland. They have lack of accommodation in high season, unstable flow of tourists in low season, lack of manpower, and local inhabitants don't know how to make a profit from tourism. On the other hand, country has well-developed infrastructure for transporting, big fishing industry, and the potential for unique gastrotourism. I enjoy photographing landscapes. I learned that the light is playing a big role in landscape image, and therefore I always search for landscapes with a good light. I knew that weather conditions in the Faroe Islands are not pleasant, and it is usually overcast and rainy. My biggest inspiration before the trip were my favorite landscape photographers. I was looking at the pictures from Chris Burgard, Evan Tier, and Patrick Pavlini, who were photographing Faroe Islands before. I was trying to see what are the attracting elements in their pictures when it's not a sunshine. I learned that increased contrast in cloudy conditions helps a lot, as well as proper dodging and burning of the key elements in the landscape. Without sharing my work, there wouldn't be any reason for making research if I would keep gained knowledge for myself. During the module, I was encouraged to share my work I produced in Iraq. It increased my exposure and I've got some new followers on social networks. Before I started to share my work from Iraq, I was analyzing the best way to do it. My concern was that previously I was sharing travel images and based on those, I also got followers. I was not sure whether I should mix images from my project to the same social account or I should create new one. I was worried that my followers will unfollow me since I will start to post different type of images. I was looking at other photographers like Nadav Kander, Franz Lanting, or Michael Yamashita, and I could see that they post different types of images based on what they are working on at that time. I decided to follow the same path, and I started to post my images on social networks, and fortunately, number of followers keeps growing so far. As mentioned before, Faroe Islands are at early stage of tourism development, and they are advertising destination regularly. There are not many people working at destination management organizations, and one of them made a smart move. Once a week, Visit Faroe Islands organization gives access to photographer who visited and photographed Faroe Island. That person is posting images during whole week, and that way advertises not only Faroe Islands, but also self as a photographer. I also applied as a contributor, but at the time of making this presentation, I have not received any answer yet. I see this as an opportunity to create a bigger awareness about my work and probably reach wider audience. As Casey Neistat describes in his vlog, beginnings are the hardest and the slowest.
3 million subscribers. I will say without reservation, the first million is the hardest. The first million took me 5 years. The second million took me like 5 months or something. And then this last million took me even less time.
As a photographer, I'm facing big competition, and therefore I cannot just wait for projects or assignments come to me. It is important for me to have a sustainable strategy with clear vision and mission. This is a description of my strategy. In my daily job, I work as a 360 panoramic photographer, where I photograph aircraft for training purposes. It is a place where I'm practicing my communication skills with new clients, as well as improving my photography level. During my spare time, I'm working on a photo project with non-profit organization, which I described at the beginning. When something goes wrong, I still have time and resources to explore new areas and to find new photo assignment. As Stephen Covey describes in his book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it is important to constantly sharpen the saw, and that's what I'm doing when studying photography at Falmouth University. Continuously exploring new areas and getting new knowledge about the craft. My vision is to profit from photography projects that are concerning global issues, and will constantly increase my knowledge. My mission is the way how I get there. While studying my master's degree, I plan to build strong and meaningful projects from Iraq, which will serve as a good showcase when applying for a photo agency. I've also decided to use an opportunity as a student of Falmouth, and I applied to be a photographer for my own agency. I received a positive answer, and we will have a phone meeting with my representative on 8th of January 2018, where we will discuss options and probably next steps. Photographer strategies are very dynamic. They change quickly with trends, technologies, or global issues. Therefore, it is important to adapt and constantly adjust the strategy.